took the state of Illinois more than 7 months to take away this convicted sex offender's massage therapy license. Our Tara Molina first brought you the story of the lawsuit against a suburban massage envy location. She is now asking the state who dropped the ball here. She's live in our newsroom with the latest. And Tara, he should have lost that license right away, right?
Marie, right away, as soon as he was convicted back in March, according to our legal analyst. So why was his license active for more than 7 months after the fact? I'm told one of the state departments had to have dropped the ball.
I wish that I had gotten justice.
You first heard from Christine Schurtzinger, an Ironman triathlete, coach, and mentor on CBS 2. Sexually abused by a massage therapist at the Massage Envy in Geneva in 2020, it took almost 2 years and court hearing after court hearing to see her criminal complaint against that therapist, James R. Garrett, through. Garrett ultimately pleading guilty to a reduced charge of attempted criminal sexual abuse in March of 2022. Registering as a sex offender and agreeing to no longer work as a massage therapist. But the state of Illinois didn't officially revoke his license until November.
After all I've gone through, I have gone through 14 hearings, hours of interviews, 2 years of my life, and this man who's been convicted of a sex crime is still a licensed massage therapist in the state of Illinois.
So what took more than 7 months? Months Garrett was technically in good standing with the state for anyone who checked his license status. We asked the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulation. A spokesperson told us the first complaint they have on record is from July of 2022. And Illinois State Police, in charge of the state sex offender registry, didn't notify them of the sex abuse conviction until October. But still, what took so long?
He should have lost his license.
Our legal analyst, Irv Miller, told me he should have lost it right away, and one of the agencies involved had to have dropped the ball. Looking at Illinois State Police and how they reported the sex offender status to the state's licensing agency.
First thing they should have done is run over and say, hey, listen, you're giving this guy a license, and he's a convicted sex offender. He shouldn't be performing massages. You should revoke this license.
We're still waiting for Illinois State Police to address the timeline and the delay here. But what could have been done to prevent this? And exactly who could be getting massage therapy licenses despite criminal convictions right now? We're taking a closer look at both of those questions, and we're bringing them to the state. That's coming up tonight at 6. For now, reporting live in the newsroom, I'm Tara Molina, CBS 2 News.
We'll see you at 6, Tara. Thank you.